Welcome to Mind Myself Conversations with E. I am here with a fantastic guest starting off a wonderful series called What's Light Got to Do with It? And we're going to be learning all about light, things you never knew, things I'm going to be learning with you along on this journey, just things that are so important about the very essence and foundation of life, which is all about light. Welcome, Rachel Maurice. We are so glad you're with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your credentials, your background, what brings you here, and talking about this subject.
Okay, great. And so I will try to keep this part short. So my background is that I worked as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years. And I stopped in 2021 with the imposition of the mandates here in British Columbia, not thinking I was going to be gone for very long. And in that time period, so now we are in 2025, so it is just over 3 years, I started doing a lot of research into things that did not make sense of, the policies that we were working with in the hospital were different from what I'd been taught. And I started coming across a lot of different information. And in particular, this one person who is a neurosurgeon out of the United States, Dr. Jack Cruz, he started to crumble the entire foundation of everything I understood about what I was taught in medicine, knowing that he came from the same background. And that basically had to do with not that everything was incorrect, but it was very incomplete. And the model that we currently operate under with traditional and conventional medicine is the body is a physical entity and biochemistry kind of runs the body. However, upstream from that is where light comes into play and more. But that is where I really started relearning how the body works, what it means to express health, which is not something we know in our traditional allopathic model, and all of the ways that we can basically become healthy and heal ourselves with the power that is already inside of the body.
I love it. And just before we get into your story, particularly, because that's what this episode is about, learning a bit more about you and how you got there. What does your practice look like now? What does your healing practice look like?
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking me what my day looked like. I'm like, okay, that's going to be big, but I help people. So I'm not currently licensed through the Canadian medical system because what I am doing and how I'm practicing is very different from what the allopathic model is now, or how it works. So I take on clients and I help people change their lifestyles with support, but basically bring them back to the foundations of allowing the body to do what it is naturally designed to do, given the correct signals. The body is not broken. It's all about the environment. And so I help people restore the environment so the body gets the correct signals and will return to wellness, basically.
I love it. Return to wellness. Isn't that the whole point? And our bodies are miraculous, but we could talk forever about that. Let's focus on today's topic, which is you. Tell us a little bit about how you came from an allopathic tradition. And I know that the last number of years have brought many changes for many people, but you personally, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you came to this place of being.
Okay. Yes. So my upbringing was, I would say, pretty traditional, and I came from a middle class household. My father was a physician, and my mother had a bunch of careers, one of them being a lawyer. And so education was held in high regard. I just didn't think twice about the fact that I'd continue on with post-secondary education. Loved working with people, liked medicine. It was sort of a natural flow that I went into medicine, and I went through all of my schooling straight. I did have the forethought, though, to realize that when I was younger, I would have less responsibilities than as I got older. And so I took advantage of that. I took advantage of the fact that banks and our central institutions will throw money at medical students and residents because they know they're going to have them on a tight leash when they graduate. And so I did a lot of traveling when I was younger. And I did have a little bit of insight into my own personal health. And I've always been proactive in keeping and living a healthy lifestyle, or what I understood at the time to be healthy, which I now know is quite different. But I was all about exercise and nutrition, but not even nutrition. When you're younger, you can think you can out exercise a bad diet, which, maybe works for a little bit sometimes. But it really went straight through into anesthesia. Again, had some forethought about choosing anesthesia, which I can go into afterwards if you want. But it was really in 2017 that I began to look outside of the allopathic model. Even though all of the years, the decades that I'd been in medicine, I saw the complications, I saw the harms, I saw all the risks that took place. And so I knew, for me personally, I wanted to do everything in my power so that I would never have to access the system. Not saying it's all bad, but there's always inherent risk when you are intervening in an invasive way. So 2017, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And she looked to me, she was okay to have surgery, but she didn't want to have chemotherapy or radiation, understandably, probably from all the stories I had told her as well. And knowing that those two are very destructive to healthy cells as well as the cancerous cells. I started researching nutrition, which is, again, just so people know, even to this day, and I can only speak to the Canadian system. I've heard about systems in the United States and elsewhere, but Canadian system, we are not taught anything about nutrition outside of intravenous nutrition when patients can't take any food in by mouth. So I started finding actual research on nutrition and how it really makes common sense, which seems to be lacking a lot of times in the medical field, because we're busy, we're tired, we're overworked, and so sometimes our brain just doesn't function that well. But common sense would dictate that the food that we take in are the building blocks for our body. And when you, right?
But it's so easy to make different choices now. Certainly in the Western world, you just go and take something off the shelf and there, voila, it's done.
Yeah.
But carry on.
Yeah. And you look around the hospital, I mean, the hospital food's just horrific, right? Like that are fed to patients. The food in the vending machines, the food that the staff bring in, because there's always some kind of holiday or celebration to be had, and it's all garbage, right? The staff, I remember, as an aside, one of the vascular surgeons I just finished a case with pulled out a big clot, like a big atherosclerotic plaque from a carotid artery in the neck. And he was walking down the hall eating Doritos and drinking a Diet Coke. And I made some comment, and he put his hand up and said, I get enough of that at home. But anyways, a lot of physicians don't practice maybe what they preach as well. So that nutrition world sort of opened up for me, and I got quite excited to learn that there are ways that we can support our body that can make a big difference. So my mom and I at the time, and I did this with her, we went vegan. I'm not vegan anymore. I did that for 5 years. I can go into that later, why I stopped. I went vegan because of the research that I saw to do with cancer. Then 2018, a downturn happened with my divorce. So I've been divorced for quite some years, in and out of the court system. It was a very arduous, tumultuous, unpleasant experience. There was some peace for a little bit, but 2018, I took a downturn, and it started to affect my health significantly. And that's when I discovered Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I had seen some documentaries before, but I really took a deep dive. And that's when I started learning about the power of thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and the effect they have on our body and the physical expression, which again, what we're taught in allopathic medicine, yes, stress, for if there's a nickel for every time I heard, yeah, it's all stress, just reduce your stress from the physicians, but not really understanding that literally the stress is impacting the body physically. I that completely transformed my life. I read everything I could. I listened to everything I could. I went to one of his workshops in July of 2019 and realized after everything I experienced there and saw there, like I had a real transformational experience there, the connection I had with a fellow gentleman, and that made me realize I was on the right path and I was out of alignment with continuing to work in the allopathic system. But I struggled for the next few years with how do I transition out of it, knowing that what I was doing, I was helping in the way that I could, but I knew the tools and what I was using to help people was not truly helping people. And so there was conflict within me. And then along came 2020 and the universe gave me the choice, which I really believe that's what it was. And in 2020, 2021, when the mandates came in, that's when I walked away, because for me, it was actually all about my children and me making sure that I had to be as healthy as I could be because I have children. And that's one of the things I learned along the way. We often will put ourselves last as parents, as mothers, in particular. Everyone else comes first, and our kids are our priority. And we don't realize until most of us, hopefully, when we do realize as we get older that to truly look after our children, we have to prioritize ourselves. And yeah, so
Not selfish. Prioritizing ourselves is not selfish. It can be done selfishly, but that's not what you're talking about.
right,
Prioritizing our highest good is actually doing good for the world when we do it right.
absolutely. And so that was where my thinking was coming from. I had to make sure I was as healthy as I could be so I could be around for my children and to help them. And so that's when I left. And that's when really my whole world of understanding of how the body works turned upside down. I was a bit distraught at the beginning, for all the years that I had learned everything that I had, and then also to come to terms with things that I'd done, which I now feel, I don't want to say regret, but now that you know better, you do better. But I just feel badly with the things that I was participating in, that was harming people, not knowing. And so I became excited, to implement practices in my life, lifestyle changes that had, again, major transformations. And it all had to do with light and my learning from Dr. Jack Kruse. Now, he's the one who opened the door for me. I came across a whole new world. It's a whole new paradigm called quantum biology, which I'm now board certified in. It's a new board certification.
Yay!
Yeah.
How exciting!
Yes, very exciting.
Wow.
So that, yeah, really, I changed, everything changed for me. I used to be, as one can probably appreciate, going through medicine, being on call, having your life turned upside down, your day and night being like not getting the sleep, not getting the sleep and the energy back when you're post call, being up at night, then fueling yourself with caffeine, however you can get it in your body, fueling yourself with anything that can keep you awake, including poor diets, right? And then I was just so fatigued I couldn't function. I was not sleeping at night this is after I left the hospital, and I just couldn't function. And I didn't know what to do. I had done everything. I'd gone down all of the alternative spaces that I could to try to do different things. So when I thought I came across Dr. Jack Kruse and I was like, well, I'm going to implement things that he's saying, because nothing else is working for me. None of the diet changes, none of the supplements, none of the exercise, none of the sleep hygiene. I tried every single sleep hygiene protocol out there and nothing was working for me. I changed literally 2 things, and within 2 to 3 weeks, I was sleeping better, still not sleeping through the night, but I had zero fatigue during the day. And I was so tired before that I actually had trouble keeping my eyes open while driving during the day. That's how tired I was. Not only no fatigue during the day, but I had an abundance of energy. I'd work out every day. I mean, I got tired at the appropriate time at night and was able to fall asleep easily, but I was off caffeine at that point as well, because I knew that ruined sleep. But I was off alcohol. Like, I literally tried everything to restore my sleep, because I thought sleep was the only thing that could do it, that could have me regain my energy and my stamina and my vitality back. I'm not saying that sleep is not important, because it absolutely is. But what I changed, I don't know if you want me to get into that.
Oh, yes, please, please.
Okay. So literally the 3 things that I did that changed everything for me was I started wearing blue blocking glasses at night. So these are daytime ones, but at night after sunset. So the signal for daytime is gone. The blue light from the sun is gone at night. After sunset, we don't want to get that blue light signal, because that stimulates cortisol. We want the melatonin to start to rise. So we need to block all of the artificial light, because that gives the signal of daytime. So I was able to increase my melatonin wearing evening blue blocking glasses. Then in the morning, I would get up and I would synchronize again my system with the sunlight. So I would see sunrise every day with naked eyes. So no glasses, no contact lenses, not behind windows, because windows filter a lot of the important light signals. So seeing sunrise in the morning, blocking blue light at night, and getting some grounding in, which I was not doing before, changed everything for me. And that really was in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow. So we're going to be exploring all of those 3 things in great detail later. So thanks for bringing those up and seeding that right now. And so just 2 to 3 weeks and so much changed about your life. What did you notice that changed? Your sleep, your energy? What else did you notice?
Yeah, well, my energy, that was a huge one.
Big one.
Yeah, and honestly, my son goes to school in a different city. That's about an 8-hour drive for me, and so I was always kind of dreading that drive and how I was going to stay awake. The last time I did it, like, it was an 8-hour drive. I had zero fatigue, and I mean, even driving a lot of times, just that kind of the feeling of driving makes people tired. You know, people fall asleep in the car, your kids fall asleep in the car. And when I mean, it depends on the roads, but yeah, those were big ones. I since have done even more things. So my day is definitely a lot fuller with different lifestyle practices. And what that's done for me now has helped me maintain my weight and my metabolism without even trying. I mean, eating whole foods, right? I'm not eating junk food, and I'm not eating a lot of processed food. Sometimes it sneaks in here and there. But my weight, my mood is so much better. I mean, and we're going to get into that, why that even is a factor here. But my mood, which affects, again, my relationships, right? Your mood and your fatigue totally affect your relationships, because when you're not feeling good, you get snappy, especially with children or family members. And so that was a big change for me. My ability to exercise, I've always prioritized physical activity, but, I have been able to take it to the next level.
Awesome.
Beyond. So
Fantastic. So as we wrap up this part of the conversation, this is just setting the stage for 6 more episodes in this series of What's Light Got to Do with It. You're getting little hints now. What response for those people who used to be in your life, maybe your colleagues or compatriots, what's the sense when you talk to them, if you do talk to them, what's that like?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because I did give a presentation within the last 6 months to a group of physicians who are very open-minded in the way is, yes, with what's going on in the world as well. And they were very receptive, very, very surprised, especially that we are not taught about any of this. And surprised that it would really have that much of an impact. I don't think any of them quite believed it,
Right.
because most of them are not teaching lifestyle factors when it comes to the and how they can help them. Really, they're getting paid for the pharmaceutical prescription model and consult for surgery. And that's just the way it's set up, right? It's the system, it's not them. And it takes a long time. And I would say it's challenging to get patients to buy into changing their lifestyle. It's a hard sell for patients to realize that it's got that much of an impact when you can have an easy button, which is not really easy, but we've been conditioned to think you push the easy button and you get the pill and the surgery.
Yeah.
When really we're not actually helping with any healing. We're just disconnecting the signals that the body's telling us to say, hey, there's something wrong here. We got to take a look at this and change it.
Yes. Hello. Pay attention here. Exactly.
It's an adaptation, right? Our body, and that's one thing I want to emphasize that I really fully understand now is our body is not broken. It's our environment that is broken. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the body. It's all about changing the environment to get the body to do what it already knows what to do or how to do.
Absolutely. And we could, again, there are so many tangents we could take on these conversations. So we'll try and keep it focused, but we could talk about what has been perpetrated out there in the world as this is the way it is. This is what's normal. This is what's true. This is what you need to do. And yeah, we can make it easy for you. You might want to rethink those thoughts. And there are ways. I love what you just said. The body is not broken. We just need to listen, and we need to give it what it's asking for, and we need to be body, mind, and spirit connected. That's what I believe.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what's one thing, Rachel, in our conversation today, one thing that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would say that to start paying attention to your light environment. It is actually higher on the list as far as your health goes than food and exercise.
Wow. You heard it here first. Thank you so much for being with us today, Rachel. And we look forward to the continuing conversations about what light got to do with it.
Thank you.
And we're doing this because you matter.